Tensions escalated in Los Angeles Wednesday as U.S. President Donald Trump deployed 700 California-based Marines to the city. Now, the LAPD says its officers have arrested some demonstrators who violated a new curfew that went into effect yesterday. It is the latest in the response to protests in Los Angeles that broke out after immigration police raided neighborhoods in Southern California last week. 2,100 National Guard members were expected on the ground as of Monday. This appears to be the first time in decades a state's National Guard was activated without a request from the governor. Here to tell us more about this is Eric Ham. He is a CTV News political analyst based in Washington. Good morning to you, Eric.
Good morning.
Eric, can you tell us more about these demonstrations and how they started last week? Did they start off rather violent or did they clash with authorities?
Well, there were some clashes with authorities in the city of Paramount, California, which is near Los Angeles, California. What we saw was in this largely Latino community, there was frustration with the aggressive immigration crackdowns that were taking place. And you saw these protests actually move from the city of Paramount to downtown Los Angeles. But what we're seeing now is not only is there a heavy National Guard presence in California, but what we're also learning is now these protests and demonstrations are spreading across the country. In fact, we now know in the state of Texas, National Guards have been deployed there as well. So the tensions are continuing to rise. And even though we see for the first time since 1965, where president has now implemented the National Guard without the support or the call from the governor of the state, this is becoming increasingly a more tense situation, even as the president continues these aggressive immigration crackdowns and deportations.
Eric, there are protests have sprung up as well in New York City as well as Chicago. What is the latest from the White House when it comes to the response to these demonstrations, particularly in LA?
Well, what we are seeing is the president has made this an issue, a law and order issue. And of course, we know the signature immigration crackdowns that we're seeing from the White House has been something that the president has called for since actually running for president of the United States during the campaign. And what we're seeing here is they are aggressively attempting to try to do this, saying that they want to deport at least 1 million people who are in the country illegally every single year. So that's a very big number. And we know that they are moving aggressively to do so, even though as the White House is continuing to do this, we know that there have been a number of instances where the courts have actually intervened with some of the policies and proposals that have been implemented by the White House, saying that these moves are oftentimes unconstitutional with some of the deportations that are continuing to play out.
Eric, we have a couple seconds left. Tell us about the dispute that has triggered a feud between President Trump and California Governor Gavin Newsom.
Well, we know, of course, a lot of this is political, with California being the liberal Democratic blue bastion of the country and oftentimes seen as the stronghold standing against the president's policies. And now we're seeing this play out where just recently the governor attempted to try to sue the president to intervene, to have intervention and stop the National Guard implementation in the state. That was rejected. But also we're seeing the threats that the governor will possibly be arrested by ICE Director Tom Homan. So this is a fight that is playing out and has continued to play out. Even we saw earlier this year with the president criticizing the governor over his handling of the wildfires in California as well.
Eric Ham reviewing what's going on in Los Angeles between the federal government and local officials there. Thank you very much. Eric Ham, CTV News political analyst. Thank you, Eric.
Thank you.